Story back during spring training a few months ago was hitting over 400 in 27 at-bats, had a couple of home runs. Jerry, this is a guy that did not hit a home run at all in his college career at Central Michigan, did not hit a home run his first year of pro ball, hit 19, though, last year between AA and AAA. Certainly has found that power.
Well, Central Michigan, John, is very, very cold up there. Ball doesn't travel.
There's Adam Kolarek pitching out of the stretch to face Zach McKinstry. That one's fouled off.
Well, sometimes it takes a while for a player to develop the power. Cody Bellinger, you go back to his high school draft, his last season as an amateur, 1 home run as a high school senior.
Or what do you have for us?
Well, I like the fact that Andrew Friedman, president of baseball operations, is directly behind home plate. He's behind the guy in black, the umpire, who's Bob Guerin. Justin Turner with a nice little routine play there. Gets him rid of the butterflies for Kolarek and Justin Turner. Rocky Gale at first base, showing the first baseman glove off. All these guys kind of getting back in the saddle.
Some of the things that you will see, Rocky Gale playing first base. We saw him play first base a couple nights ago in the intra-squad game. Normally he's behind the plate, but getting a chance to get some work at first. I mean, when you have a clubhouse attendant playing left field in an intra-squad game, that tells you a lot about what you need to know. This is Corey Seager up there. Is another guy that was having such a good spring. Finally was able to have that full off season.
And if you're a Corey Seager, you want to see as many left-handed pitchers as possible, especially early on in this summer camp, because you're going to see a lot of lefties in the season.
Oral, do you want to chime in again?
Yeah, this is a spring training where if you go back to Adrian Gonzalez's, his active days, he would say, I need to see a right-handed slider, a right-handed sinker, a right-handed cutter, a right-handed curveball. I need to see a left-handed slider, left-handed curveball, left-handed sinker, left-handed cutter. And then you say, I'm ready after I see that. Well, Seager's looking ready right there.
Nice line drive base hit to left field for Corey Seager. He's never seemed to have many problems facing lefties, righties. Seems like he can hit anybody, even though Kolarek comes at that side-winding angle from the left side.
You know what I love about that at bat? It was sitting 2-0, didn't look to pull the ball, stayed on the baseball, line drive to left field. Corey Seager looking pretty good right now.
Matt Beatty was going to be the number 3 hitter, but they've changed things up on us.
No protest tonight, though.
DJ Peters was originally in the 7th spot. They've moved him up. But teams will be doing this during the season, Jerry, because when you have to pitch to 3 different batters, that gives the opposing manager the chance to make adjustments. So DJ Peters coming in this spot as a right-handed batter to face the lefty.
You know, obviously with the DH in play now for this season, managers, especially in the later innings, may switch up their lineup a little bit more to make sure they have the right matchup, knowing that pitcher's out there for 3 batters.
And Dave Roberts probably did this intentionally because he wants to see Adam Kolarek face right-handed batters. And he said it back during spring training. He's going to have to prove that he can get guys out from the right side. We saw what he did against Juan Soto in the division series. One of the best left-handed hitters in the game. He faced him 3 times, got him out all 3.
And the one thing I love about Kolarek, he makes adjustments. Obviously, he has the slider and the sinker against lefties, but he uses that sinker a lot more against righties to make sure he induces a lot of ground balls.
2-1 pitch to Peters is outside. Make that, they'll just call it ball 4.
Yeah, why not?
Good at bat for Peters, too. He's got trying to show some talent here and trying to leave another impression for Dave Roberts and his staff, including the umpire.
Bob Guerin behind the plate. Or what you got?
Well, Adam Kolarek, when he's a left-on-left situation, he really can battle back in a count. But when he starts to face these righties, he's going to have to get ahead in the count. He's worked really hard on a little cutter and an up fastball to get righties off of him. But it's going to be harder for him to get back into counts like it was right there with DJ Peters against a righty. But he can do it against lefties. We've seen him fall behind 3-0, 3-1 to lefties and been fine. But with righties, it's going to be very tough.
And there it is right there, Oral. He threw him that combo right there. Runner in scoring position. The real AB selling out on a fastball. Kolarek knew that, threw him that changeup there.
Ned, are these intra-squad games and these at-bats important at all for guys like Austin Barnes, who's trying to prove that last year was an anomaly and a bit of a fluke because he was sent down to AAA, and he wants to have that bounce-back year here in 2020?
Well, I think you've got players that are in different situations. You got a guy like Justin Turner. He's just trying to get sharp and trying to refine his abilities. You got a guy like Austin Barnes, big league player, but as you just said, he needs to really show some more offense. So this is an opportunity to get hot, to get warmed up, and to get ready for a season. You've got other people like Peters we just saw, too. He's trying to leave an impression in case there's a spot for a call-up at some point in time.
And Austin Barnes was awfully good during the spring. He said he felt great at the plate during the spring, was hitting .333, a couple doubles and a home run. But he's punched out by Bob Guerin. I'm sure he'll have some words with his bench coach when he goes back out there behind the plate for the next inning. Oral?
With Austin Barnes right there, he struggled against left-handed breaking balls. So you'd say, well, that's a bad matchup with him against Kolarek. But the other thing, he was very good on the low pitch and terrible on the pitch up. But Kolarek still got him out with something by the knees.
So Matt Beatty comes to the plate now with 2 on and 2 outs. All he did last year with runners in scoring position was at .379. Not bad for a rookie to have those kind of numbers.
He had such a tremendous year. When you think about what he did not play all the time, so he had to stay sharp through inactivity sometimes, but really a clutch hitter, somebody that is fearless at the plate. He'll take every pitch. He can slow the game down. Very effective hitter. Doesn't make the difference what the situation is. All he wants to do is have a chance.
He's an old school type of hitter. Not a lot to his swing. Very quiet in the batter's box. Bat to ball.
Oh, you want to chime in?
Yeah, one of the things that's so exceptional about the Dodger organization is when these young guys come up, they make an impression right away and have an impact. But the thing that they all have is poise. And so as we watch these guys become veterans, it's going to be an internal thing. We're not going to see their mechanics change. We're not going to see their stance in the box change as much. But what they're gaining is knowledge between their ears. And that's going to be really interesting to see how much Matt Beatty progresses as a hitter. You're not going to see all of a sudden the rhythm change or he's calmer because they're all so poised when they come up. Will Smith, Matt Beatty, all of them. But what they're going to gain now is knowledge this year, again, within this competition, and they're going to get to be even smarter.
And he added an extra show chain, too. He's got 2 this year.
Kolarek ahead of him 1 and 2, Jerry, and able to get Matt Beatty, but we saw a lot of left-handed batters go to the same fate against Adam Kolarek last year. Nothing across for the visiting side on the top of the first. The home half coming up right after this. Inning, this intra-squad game, the third one in 4 nights. Let's check in right now with Alana Rizzo in one of the suites.
All right, John, thanks very much. Dennis Santana on the hill right now for the home team for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And you know what about the starting pitching is concerned? Clayton Kershaw officially made the opening day starter again. Dave Roberts saying that yesterday. But when asked today if he really felt how long the starters were going to be able to go, he honestly feels that Clayton Kershaw, Ross Stripling, as well as Alex Wood should be built up to about 7 innings or about 100 pitches by the time the season actually starts. He said he would obviously check in with Walker Buehler and Julio Urias to see how far along they are as far as the buildup for their arms are concerned. As far as Dennis Santana tonight, still looking for a spot for him potentially. Doubtful that he'll be on the actual opening day roster, if you will, when you're talking about those amount of guys. But Dave Roberts said he'll probably go about 2 innings tonight.
Ball is hit well to left center, but it is caught just in front of the warning track. Thank you very much, Alana. Mookie Betts flying out to start this one. And Oral, Dennis Santana is certainly an interesting guy. He looked awfully good during the spring. He pitched in 6 different games, had 10 strikeouts in only 5 innings, did not allow a run. And this is a guy who's coming off some major struggles last year. His ERA at Oklahoma City last year was almost 7. What did you see from him back during the spring?
Everything with him has taken an uptick, from physically to his paying attention to detail with his mechanics, trying to repeat his delivery, to what's going on in his head as far as his thinking. So there isn't really a component of Dennis Santana that has not improved. And in doing that, his movement, his lively arm, his breaking ball are off the charts. The key for him, the difference between a minor leaguer Dennis Santana and a major leaguer Dennis Santana, is consistency and being able to repeat. He throws it hard enough. He makes it break well enough. He's got all the pitches. It's just locating. And the main location is down. You saw that pitch to Mookie Betts, the long fly ball to left. Well, that ball was about 6 inches too high. It had tail, but it didn't have his outstanding sink. He's just got to be more consistent, and he will really contribute.
Here he is facing Jock Peterson, Ned. Dennis Santana, a guy that you signed when he was had just turned 17 years of age back in March of 2013. And he wasn't pitching back then, was he?
No, that Orals has it right. He does have great stuff. It's really a matter of the consistency and being able to be successful on more pitches than not. It's not a 50-50 proposition in the big leagues. They will take advantage of you. And you've got to be able to use that strike zone, use different parts of it against different hitters, change speeds, change eye levels. That takes time to develop. Does he have the stuff? There's no doubt. Execution is going to be the key for him to be able to do it on a consistent basis, not once in a while.
Let's head of Jock 1 and 2, Jerry. Jock Peterson is a guy who did not take any at-bats or get any at-bats during Cactus League play. He was nursing that sore hip, that sore side. So these at-bats probably a little bit more meaningful to him.
Very meaningful, and he already went deep
a couple nights ago.
These inter-squad games. You know, Jock Peterson, I don't worry about him anymore. He's really found himself.
That one's hit hard.
Scorched.
Nice play there by Matt Beatty.
There's a cute story about Jock Peterson and his home run because Cody Bellinger, these guys hear each other with no fans there. Cody Bellinger was playing center field, and as Jock came up in their close friendship, he yells, "Easy out, easy out." And then Jock goes deep, and he gave it back to Cody when he was rounding second.
Does that give you even more worry, Oral? Because I heard you and Joe Davis were talking about this, and Joe was worried about all the players being able to hear you guys calling games. If Jock can hear Cody from center field, I imagine they're going to be able to hear you guys from the booth as you're calling these games.
You know, the protective plexiglass around town to guard servers and cashiers and hostesses, we might need to put some of that up in front of us just to kind of mute our broadcast every once in a while. We've actually joked that if Walker Buehler hears me critiquing a pitch selection of his, he might take the next ball and throw it up at the booth.
Let's check in again with Alana right now. Alana?
You guys, it's so funny that you were just talking about that because when Justin Turner was in the on-deck circle, he yelled up at the press box. There's about 5 reporters up there, and he yelled to tell Dave Vassay, our friend with AM 570, to literally shut up. And then Andrew Friedman, who's in the front row with a bunch of development guys, and Stan Kasten, our president and CEO, looked around and said, "You know what, Dave, you're being too loud." You literally, guys, can hear every single thing going on in this stadium right now.
That's going to be an interesting thing all season long to watch for that.
This is when they're going to pump in crowd noise, right?
Yes, we think they are. But is it going to be all the time?
I would want it all the time. You know, I'd want that feeling as close as possible of feeling the energy of the fans, and hopefully they pump in a lot of crowd noise. I know the players want that.
Especially if Vassay's talking. Hey, no, I love you, David.
Justin Turner was the one that really wanted it and said, you know what, when they tried it with him, he loved it, and it gave him a lot of adrenaline.
All right, so we are scoreless after the first inning of this intra-squad game. We will have more coming your way right after this. At the top of the second inning, it's a scheduled 3-inning intra-squad game. Neds, no scores. We head to this second inning.
Well, we're going to have a chance to see some different players. Treinen here is obviously trying to get established from 2 years back. Believe it or not, this is a big inning for him. This is a big opportunity for him. He needs to get back. He needs to get his confidence, get his feel back, get his arm strength back. Inner squad, yes, but still a big inning for him to see where he's at and to gain some confidence.
He was slowed at the start of spring, did pitch in one Cactus League game. Went 1 inning, did not allow a hit or a run in that game. But, Jerry, we were talking about it with Treinen. This is a guy that battled through some shoulder soreness last year, lost the closer role with the A's after, in 2018, arguably the best closer in all of baseball. He was an all-star, had a 0.78 ERA in 2018.
And it's amazing. You get injured, you get hurt, then you start to lose your confidence because you lose the feel of the baseball. Now he's healthy, and hopefully he gets back to where he was a couple years ago because he has closer stuff. Dominant fastball with movement and run, and a pretty good breaking ball as well.
You see him facing Edwin Rios to start this inning. Or what do you have on Blake Treinen?
Well, you know what? Shoulder, elbow injuries are different. Shoulder injury usually has to do with the height of your pitches and how they flatten out. elbow injuries have to do with how much you can really spin the baseball. So with the shoulder, he lost a lot of sink and a lot of elevation on his four-seamer. So it was really interesting to watch the pitches and the pitch selection and what was getting hit in 19 compared to 18 when his ERA was below 1.
Edwin Rios.
Wow.
Absolutely crushing that one. I guess the batter's eye, not a problem for Edwin Rios right there, Jared. We saw Edwin Rios hit a lot of tape measure shots last year in the minor leagues and even hit a couple at the big league level.
John, I absolutely love this kid. This kid's swing reminds me of Victor Martinez. Remember that Detroit Tigers catcher, Cleveland Indians DH? Very powerful young man, tape measure shot.
That puts the visiting team on the board 1-0, Ned.
Really a kid that's got a lot of potential. Gets lost a little bit because you're so... player for quite a while.
Brings Luke Raley to the plate now to face Treinen.
You know, it's amazing. There's an 0-2 pitch. Treinen threw him a breaking ball, center cut, and Rios did not miss it. Can't make those mistakes. But again, this is Intrasquad working on things.
And plus, he did only pitch in the one Cactus League game. He was slowed a bit, and I don't know how much he continued to throw during the few months when everything was shut down. I imagine he did continue to throw. But, Oral, is it more important to work on certain pitches right now, or are you trying to work on execution? What is the goal for Blake Treinen in this situation?
Well, to continue to make good pitches, but I'm sure he's consumed with himself. That's a four-seamer right there. So he's got a four-seamer that he can tail. He's got a four-seamer he can cut. And he's got the sinker that really the bottom can drop out of it when he's on it. That breaking ball that Jerry talked about, 0-2, it just kind of spun there. But as you get in better and better shape, the breaking ball and the sharpness for me is the last pitch to come. There's a lazy one that came out of his hand a little early. And so really right now, the breaking ball looks like it's about 1 out of 3 that he can execute. And he's going to have to get that up to about 2 out of 3. And the one that he misses with probably needs to be in the dirt.
Is that just a matter of it takes time, it takes reps to get to that point? Oh, and an unlucky bounce off the bag there. Otherwise, that's a routine ground out. Luke Raley will take that single.
Can't teach that.
Yeah.
But, Oral, is it just about reps at this point for Blake Treinen?
Yeah, this is his first outing. I mean, you have to remember, yes, we're close to opening day because it's a short camp, but this is his first outing on the mound, competition. So, yeah, this is getting a feel for everything. Your catcher, the hitter up there, the ball coming back at you, the ball leaving the ballpark. You're just starting to get your legs under you.
Even the mound, too.
So back to the top of the order. They're only batting 7. They're not letting Chico bat, Jerry. Chico's in the 8th spot, but they're not letting him hit.
You know what? I got that speed pass. Maybe I can get in my car now, head down to Dodger Stadium, get some hacks in. Come on. John. They know me over there.
That's why you're here.
Exactly. That's why Ned's here, too. Zach McKinstry, he grounded out to Justin Turner his first time up. Or what do you have for us?
Well, you know what? I was going to talk to Jerry about hitters' backgrounds, but at this age, when he get up there in the box, he wouldn't be able to see anything no matter how good the background was.
At his age? Really, Oral? We're talking about age? I'm in my early... Anyway, Blake Treinen, when he's on, he's got outstanding movement. But I think the most important thing, him being first time taking the mound here, working on his breaking ball, his sinker, and his fastball. As he gets more comfortable throwing that breaking ball, we're going to see the real Blake Treinen. There it is right there.
And he gets McKinstry for the first out here at the top of the 2nd inning.
He's interesting. He can throw that breaking ball both sides of the plate. He threw a really good cutter to the last hitter on that second pitch. So there's a lot to work with here.
Another tough test coming up right here. Facing Corey Seager. Lined to single to left his first time up against Adam Kolarek.
When Dave Roberts talked about Corey Seager and seeing him come into camp, he said, we are really seeing Corey Seager all the way back. And Jerry, you made a comment on taking the pitch to left field on a 2-0 pitch. He not only did that, but remember last year, all those weak kind of slicing fly balls to left?
Yes.
Corey was able to stabilize his body on that one and stay through it and hit the line drive. That was a really good sign.
Go back a couple years ago, let's say 3 years ago. If you would say who would be the face of this franchise, 100% of the fans and front office would say Corey Seager will be the face of this franchise. Obviously, injuries have kind of derailed it. For the time being, this kid is still talented. Now he's 100% healthy. I expect big things out of Corey Seager.
Browns one, that's going to find a hole. So Corey Seager is 2 for 2.
Good piece of hitting right there. Stayed back on that breaking ball. Didn't commit too soon, and really timed it perfectly.
And Luke Raley over to third, or what do you have for us?
You go back to Corey Seager's healthy years, you're looking at 4 at-bats, and in 3 of them, the ball is going to be scorched. And then if he finds a hole like that routine ground ball, plus the line drive, and then the next one finds the seats, and maybe he strikes out 1 out of 4, but you are going to get a competitive bat and something that's going to be barreled up about 75% of the time.
And it was a ground ball single. I know a lot of times nowadays they say don't hit the ball on the ground, but if it results in a base hit, why argue with that? This is DJ Peters up there, first and third.
And John, these are the at-bats that you want, like DJ Peters. He's a run producer, right? First and third, 1 out. You have to figure out a way to get the run in from third base, less than 2 outs.
I think being part of the 60-man pool is a big opportunity for DJ Peters as well. This is a guy had some really big power numbers the last 3 years, but the strikeout numbers have always been really high with him. Let's check in again real quickly with Alana.
All right, guys, one of the things that is going to be different this season, of course, is all of the different protocols for health and safety due to the coronavirus. I'm watching here in the Dodgers dugout, the home dugout. One of their trainers, Thomas, kind of every half inning is cleaning down the dugout rail, making sure that that's always sanitized and cleanly for the guys when they come back into the dugout. I was asking Max Muncy earlier if he thought it was going to be difficult to adjust to the fact that they can't do the same types of things. No high fives. You can't spit in the game. You can't, throw the ball around the diamond on an out. And he said, honestly, they're pretty conscious of everything going on right now. They have a lot of people in the training staff making sure to remind them. It's just so hard when it's so ingrained in you to do those types of things. But obviously, everyone's of mind of what's going on and how they need to adjust.
So true, Alana. And Jerry, we saw it in the Intrasquad game Monday night. We saw a couple guys spitting and almost saying, oh my gosh, I just spit. So that's going to take a while for guys to get used to not doing that.
And Major League Baseball has to understand these guys aren't going to be perfect, okay? They're going to follow protocols as best they can. And I commend the players. They've done an excellent job so far in camp, making sure everybody stays safe.
Looks like Blake Treinen's work is going to be done after throwing 21 pitches. Probably reached his limit there, gets the second out. Kind of unfortunate in the inning, the ground ball off the bat of Luke Raley hit second base bag. We will be right back after this. We'll check in on the new pitcher here in the top of the second inning. 1 run already across on the Edwin Rios home run. 2019, here he is in the top of the second inning off Blake Treinen. Into the pavilion. Solo shot. 1-0 leads. They just called it after the 2 outs there in the top of the second. That's what they do in intra-squad games. This is Cody Bellinger, the reigning National League MVP at the plate, facing Marshall Kasowski. Did some good numbers the last couple years in the minors for the Dodgers.
Change up right there.
See what Cody Bellinger can do, Jerry, in his follow-up to that incredible MVP season.
He's ahead in the count, 2-0 here.
Got a young pitcher on the mound right there facing the MVP of the National League, and quite the experience.
With Kasowski on the mound there, this is, for the fans, this is what a short armor looks like, where he takes it and goes right behind his head. He's hiding the ball from the hitter, but, you don't see the big drop and the long arm coming through that looks more rhythmic. This is a kind of a herky-jerky, And it really helps him, I would think, Jerry, with his changeup, the deception.
Absolutely, as long as he keeps that changeup down. He's got a little
Cody Bellinger.
He has a little Kevin Apier type delivery there.
Hey, I like that, Jerry. That's good. That's a good one right there. Good one.
Young man is smart. He made sure he didn't give Cody Bellinger a pitch to hit. He knows that.
Well, we think it's Chris Taylor, and it is. Always have to check. The lineups not exactly gospel in these intra-squad games. CT3 up there.
I kind of like having CT3 at times hit behind Cody Bellinger. Good guy as far as going the other way, driving the ball. Little action, hit and run at times.
Chris Taylor just signed that new 2-year deal right before spring training started.
A young pitcher out there right now struggling with his delivery a little bit. As Oral said, a little tough delivery there. And also trying to get his command in a big league stadium.
And I imagine he's battling some nerves right now, even though there are no fans there. It's an intra-squad game, Jerry. He is pitching at Dodger Stadium, and he's facing the likes of Cody Bellinger to start it.
Absolutely. Listen, this ain't the minor leagues. You walk out on the mound, Dodger Stadium, you face the MVP and CT3, who could also take you deep. These kids watch baseball. They watch our network, John. They know these guys can ball, so he has to make sure he controls his nerves and get the job done.
2-1 or 2-1 to CT3. Bob Guerin gives him the call in the outside corner there.
Generous strike. That was in the first base dugout.
Trying to give the kid a little break there.
We don't have the K zone here for the intra-squad games. I think Will Smith said he was a bit inconsistent the other night when he was back there behind the plate.
There's that changeup right there. That's a pretty good changeup. CT3 did a great job there laying off.
And I imagine that good changeup is the reason for some of the strikeout numbers he had in the minor leagues. Or what do you have?
That's one of those optical illusion changeups, especially with the delivery, the where he hides it, and the arm speed is very good on it. Remember, Chris Taylor got off to a horrific start last year. Up and through June, he was one of the worst hitters in the big leagues, but then the second half of the season came around, and statistically, he was better as a sub than he was as a starter. So that can be a curse and that can be a blessing, and you know he's going to be moved around the field to find at bats on this Dodger team.
Yeah, he was much better in the second half of the season. It's back-to-back walks by Marshall Kasowski here in the bottom of the second.
And if you're a manager, Dave Roberts, you really respect a guy like CT3. He could have mailed it in after the first half of the season. He continued to work, got better, and got more at-bats in the second half. And he rewarded his manager with his play.
He's come a long way in the last 4 years when you think about coming here for Zach Lee many years ago and kind of working his way in, starting the first season in the minor leagues. Came up, started to become more versatile, learned how to play left field, learned how to play some center field. Made himself very, very valuable. Co-MVP back in the NLCS a few years ago. Really come a long way now, a couple-year deal, too.
He's facing Kike Hernandez. Already beginning his 6th year with the Dodgers. Where has the time gone? Kike called this the best Dodger team he's ever been on, and that was one of the big reasons why he wanted to actually get back and play this season. He wants to see, Jerry, what this team can do. Fully healthy, full squad. Obviously, they won't have David Price as one of their pitchers this year, but it's a team that is loaded.
But I agree with Kike Hernandez because when you add a guy like a Mookie Betts to this powerful lineup, and you got guys like Kike Hernandez, Jock Peterson, Cody Bellinger, Corey Seager, they're starting to enter into their prime. So this team, on paper, is the best Dodger team I've seen in a while.
He, too, is having a really good spring. Had 3 home runs in Arizona before things were put on hold. Let's check in again with Alana right now. Alana?
All right, John, thanks very much. You guys were just talking about how excited Kike Hernandez is to get back to what is going to be a good season if the whole squad is here. That's still to be determined because, as we mentioned earlier, Kenley Jansen still has not arrived to camp as far as that is concerned. Dave Roberts dispelling any rumor that he is going to opt out. A.J. Pollock also not here. Another big name that folks were excited to see this season is Gavin Lux, who was thought to have the starting second base position for the Dodgers. Keibert Ruiz also not here. As I mentioned, Tony Gonsolin has arrived, but we're still not certain when A.J. Pollock as well as Kenley Jansen will arrive to camp. Dave Roberts not available to say, or not able to say rather, why they are not here, but certainly still hopeful.
Kike Hernandez lines one to right. Nice diving catch.
Just great play all around by Luke. Pretty good jump on that baseball, but I love the approach by Kike Hernandez. I'll tell you what, if he stays with that approach, going the other way, that ball was down. A changeup. To go the other way on a line, Kike, keep that swing right there, brother. You're going to have a lot of success.
You've said that for years. When he gets into some trouble, you say he needs to go back to hitting the ball the other way because he has power and he can drive the ball the other way.
And listen, you can get homer happy, and Kike Hernandez has the ability to hit 20 home runs, but why not hit 280 with about 12 to 15 home runs? If he sticks with that approach, he could be a really good impact player and hitter.
The Fresh Prince, Will Smith, at the plate now, facing Kosowski with 2 on. Will Smith battling with Austin Barnes for the bulk of the starts behind the plate. And that's going to be a battle that probably won't even be decided necessarily at the start of the season. It'll continue to be evaluated as the season goes on, Jerry, because it's going to be important. We know both guys defensively are very good, but they will have to hit somewhat.
Yeah, and with Will Smith, he found out last year that the big league season is a long season. You know, the last 6 weeks or so really struggled at the plate. I think he's gotten a lot stronger in the offseason, making sure he doesn't run out of gas toward the end of the season. Now with the 60 games season and postseason, I think he's going to be fresh. And I think last year, struggling at the end of the year is going to benefit him coming into this season. So Will Smith, a lot of talent, but Austin Barnes as well has a chance.
This is going to be a battle because with the shortened season, you're not going to really stick with a guy a little bit longer when you've got about the same guy defensively behind the plate. I think you're so right, Jerry, about he ran out of gas, but I don't think it was always physically ran out of gas as much as all the responsibility and all the learning that it takes, the mental energy to learn a big league staff and then to end up being the starting catcher, grinding out those daily meetings with the starters and the bullpen. And I think you could see it because he started missing the pitches he hit early on. He was missing the fastball late in the season. There he tatered a hanging breaking ball. But he's a great fastball hitter, and that will start coming.
Great approach there by Will Smith.
Great point, too, Oral, about the mental aspect of the game. When you're a young catcher and you got all that responsibility, especially with the expectations of this franchise, especially with this pitching staff and this bullpen. So there was a lot of different pressures on a young player. He's going to have to go through it, but it'll be good to get him back there and see what he can do this year with all the experience he's had.
That's it for the second inning. We'll be back with the top of the third. It's 1-0 visitors. Third, it's Dylan Floro taking over now for the home squad. The visitors leading this one 1-0 on the Edwin Rios solo home run. Or what do you want to see out of Dylan Floro? Was bit of a struggle at times for him last year after he was so good in 2018 coming over from the Reds after that trade.
Again, it's going to be location, a little bit of liveliness in the arm, some minor aches and pains, but when you have those and it takes away from your movement and your velocity and your consistency, it all comes back to the same story. It's the basics. It's the way you need to pitch. And it's location, location, location once you have a big league arm and big league stuff, and that's what Dylan's got to get back to.
And as a big league hitter, you look for pitchers. Hey, does he miss in the middle of the plate a lot? And when they do, big league hitters take advantage of it. Flo needs to make sure he works down in the zone.
Never lacking movement. Nothing is straight coming out of his hand, that's for sure, as he facing Austin Barnes here to lead off the top of the third.
At the real AB at the dish.
We talked about that catching situation, Ned. And Orr was talking about it. This will be a battle that continues through the season because when you have such a short season, you can't afford prolonged slumps from either guy, whether it's Will Smith or Austin Barnes.
No, they can both catch and throw, and they can manage another team's running game. So, and you have the offense that this organization has. So this position can be a defensive position, but the person that does provide more offense is going to end up with the lion's share of the opportunity here.
And that's that pitch right there, that hanging slider that Austin Barnes 3 years ago was squaring up, going the other way. He's got to be able to stay on that pitch.
Well, it's driven to left center. As you can hear everybody saying, I got it, Jerry. And Jock Peterson did have it as he makes the catch for the out.
And that's his room buddy right there, AB. Want to make sure he secured that out. Jock Peterson, a former center fielder. Pretty good left fielder now. Great show chain, all smiles.
Let's check in again right now with Alana. Alana?
John, you guys were talking about the catching situation and how important it is to not get into any sort of slumps. And that can be said for the entire team in a shortened season of just 60 games in 66 days. I asked Dave Roberts yesterday if he had to have that conversation with the guys about not allowing themselves to get into any sort of prolonged slumps because of that shortened season. Because, of course, the last couple of years, the Dodgers have gotten off to slow starts when it was 162 games. And he said they understand what is at stake. It's not a conversation that they've had to have individually or as well as a team. He knows that they're prepared, they're ready to go, and they know that they have to get off to a fast start.
All right, thanks, Alana. And Jerry, I imagine you also don't want to put added pressure on yourself thinking, okay, I just had back-to-back 0 for 3s or something like that, and think, okay, now I'm going to start to press, because then even more bad things can often happen.
John, you've seen by the back of my baseball card, right? Especially in those early years. I know all about pressure, going 0 for 8, 0 for your last 15. The biggest key is, I know this is a result-oriented business, but you got to make sure if you concentrate on going the other way, having good at-bats, squaring balls up, you know in the long run the success will come. And here we're talking about a kid who has great at-bats, Rios. Gone is David Freese. Gone is Chase Utley. The veteran guys that are coming off the bench are no longer here, but these guys, like Rios, they take veteran-type at-bats, and he could be a huge piece off the bench for the Dodgers this year.
The other issue with Rios would be where to play him as well. He made 5 starts at first base last year, a couple at third base. Can possibly put him in the outfield as well.
With the new DH now, you can move guys around. You know, Justin Turner can have a day off in DH, and he can play some third. Rios can, maybe in the outfield. Definitely has the bat to play in the big leagues. Mercy.
Good pitch to hit right there, and it's lined into center field for a base hit. So Edwin Rios is having a good bat tonight.
He is a confident hitter. He stays back. He stays calm. He's a young man, but he has got a great feel for hitting.
Got one up in the zone there, Jerry.
That pitch, I mean, center cut. You know, we talk about flow. When he's on, everything's down. Everything up, it doesn't move as much. It's like sitting on a tee for a guy like Rios. He's fortunate that ball stayed in the yard.
This is Luke Raley back up there. That fortunate bounce off the second base bag his first time up for a base hit. Just came over during the offseason. Part of that trade came over with Brusdar Graterol. The deal that sent Kenta Maeda to the Twins, the Dodgers traded him to the Twins to get Brian Dozier back in 2018. So here he is back in the Dodgers organization. Pops one up. Big league pop-up right there. Kike Hernandez has it for the out. So nothing across for the visitors. Last hacks for the home squad. Working on a no-hitter. Jock Peterson's going to do with his hair. There you see it, Jerry. Some frosted tips. Did you ever go with that look back when you were in the show?
I didn't, John. You know, but he's living La Vida Loco right there. Back in the day, Ricky Martin, 1999, had that hairdo. It worked out for him, and hopefully it'll work out for Jock Peterson, especially here in L.A.
All right, let's go to the bottom of the third now. Marshall Kasowski getting another inning of work. Only got 2 outs in the bottom of the second, but he'd reached his pitch limit, so they said, that's enough for that inning. Intrasquad game for you. Rocky Gale getting an at-bat here to lead things off. It'll be followed by Mookie Betts. And then living La Vida Loca, frosted tips, Jock Peterson.
You kind of feel the pressure, John. The last thing you want
Is to get no hit?
is to get no hit in an inter-squad game. So Rocky Gale stepping in there, trying to break up the no-no.
Rocky Gale is more known for his defense, not exactly an offensive catcher. He's 32 years of age, has 4 big league hits.
He's due, John.
Laura likes that.
That was funny all the way to Vegas.
He doubled his hit total just last year, went 2 for 15 in 5 games. But
Come
he's,
on, Rocky,
he's an emergency guy in a situation like this, Jerry, with a shortened season. You're going to need to have someone in case there are terrible injuries to, I mean, God forbid, to Will Smith and or Austin Barnes. You're going to need someone who is a veteran who can handle guys.
And he
might be
handles
that
the
guy.
pitching staff.
Yep.
Well, he does do that.
Count goes 3-2 to Rocky Gale.
I wouldn't be surprised, John, if he's on the taxi squad. As far as when they have road trips, they're allowed to take 3 extra guys with them, because if you had an emergency, a catcher is going to be the key. And with Rocky, his quality is not in his bat, so he wouldn't really lose it by not, just taking BP and being out there, but being ready to even be the bullpen catcher and to know the staff. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the 3.
And the other catching options after him, Keibert Ruiz, who hasn't reported yet, and Diego Cartaya, who's a teenager. Cartaya.
I think with Keibert, you're going to want to get him at bats and develop him.
Hey, I told you, John.
He's a hit machine.
There you go.
I told you.
That's a good
He's
approach, too. Line drive, base hit the other way by
Absolutely.
Rocky Gale.
Breaks up the no-hitter, guys.
That way, Rocky. That a boy.
You guys jinxed the no-hitter.
Throw the ball in the dugout.
Ball away. Look at the swinger here. Head down to contact. Great swing there by Rocky. Line drives all over the field.
Well, Kosowski, if he had any nerves before, he's going to face him again here. Mookie Betts stepping in. 2018 AL MVP.
How about having the offense this team has had the last few years, and how they're really tough on every pitching staff that they face. And then you add this kid to the group.
And you're going to add a DH as well to this team, so you're going to get another bat in the lineup, Jerry.
Good night. I mean, this team, really, we talked about it all season, really last 3 years, was more like an offensive type of team with the DH, even though they had a pitcher in the lineup. But these guys adding that designated hitter to make sure guys like Justin Turner gets his rest, Max Muncy gets his rest, they're going to use that DH spot nicely.
1-1 to Mookie. That pitch misses. Jerry, do you think we see Mookie at the top of the lineup all season long, or do you think Dave Roberts will change it up against right-handers and maybe occasionally put in someone like Jock Peterson at the top?
I think they might mix and match. Right now, Jock Peterson does an excellent job against right-handed pitchers leading off. They could experiment, have Mookie Betts hit second. That ball's a mile off the plate.
Well, at least we know Bob Guerin does not have a future as an umpire.
Oh, absolutely not.
But does that call remind you of any other umpires in the big leagues?
John, I'm not going to say here, okay? But, we've had discussions many nights. There's a guy, Joe Opposite East, used to call some pitches a mile outside.
And Austin Barnes can't find it.
But to get back to the lineup, the great thing about the Dodgers lineup and the players that they have, you can interchange guys in different spots. You can have Cody Bellinger hit third, Justin Turner hit fourth. You can have Mookie Betts hit fourth or third and lead off, and Jock Peterson the same thing. These guys understand no matter where they hit in the lineup, their job is to put good at-bats together. And I'll tell you what, if you're a manager like Dave Roberts, that is a fun problem to have.
And you know what that means for the opposition? You know how long the games are?
Too long.
Too long.
The 3-2 pitch to Mookie. That's a base hit to left field, and Kosowski hung that one, and Mookie knew what to do with that.
You got Chico Escuela in left field right there making the play.
Well played. Well played by Chico in left.
Hanging breaking ball, Mookie Betts rifling to left field. There's Chico right there.
There he is.
You know, John, you talk about the Graham. Chico Escuela, it doesn't get better than him. He does a very good job.
His last name is
on the
actually
Graham.
Chico Herrera. Herrera is his
What was
last
that?
name. Yeah, it's Herrera.
No, John, I've known him
Chico
for...
Escuela, I think that was from Saturday Night Live.
I've known him for quite some time, John. I remember I played in 12 and 13, so me and Chico,
Right.
we go way back. And excellent Graham game, and out there in left field with the Show Dodgers. How about that?
How much fun is he having, by the way, being out there?
Come on, that's definitely a dream come true for him.
Here's Jock Peterson up there. Jock Peterson hit a home run a couple nights ago, as Oral was talking about earlier. Hit it off of Ross Stripling.
Ross had a good outing other than that home run. He felt good. He went deep into the game. I think he went 4 innings, got his pitch count up. But I'll tell you what, Chico in left field.
Chico's got to make this catch.
Calm the heart. Calm the
Throw him
heart.
out. Throw him out. Throw him out.
You don't run on Chico.
You don't run on Chico.
No.
And I'm going to say this. A lot of times, and the players know scouting reports, right? Chico throws batting practice, you know, in the cage, and he's got a rocket of an arm. Outstanding, Chico. He might make this
He's going
club.
to want that video, too.
He might make this club,
He's
John.
going to want that for
He's
the
wearing
archive.
Francisco. That's fun to say. Are they pulling him out of the game? They're calling the game. So the final is 1-0. Well, that was fun. That's a perfect way to end it, actually, Jerry. You let Chico make the catch there in left field.
And again, we talk about
Peterson.
scouting reports. The players know that Chico has a great arm. He throws batting practice. So they know he's got a strong arm. Good to see baseball on our television. Great to see.
Oral, you have a final thought for us on what we had a chance to see tonight? Maybe Oral's called it a night, like everybody else. But, Oral, you there?
No, it's just, I just think it was a great and fun night, and I'll bet you Chico had the highest heart rate on the whole field.
Alana, some final thoughts from you as well.
I am taking recommendations for binoculars. Please send them to me.
Ned's got some binoculars for you. That was certainly a lot of fun. I had a chance to see a bullpen game. Some of the guys getting the reps in there as well. Ned, your final thoughts from what we saw?
Well, I thought you saw some good opportunities for players. You also had some good results. Last play of the game, one for the record book.
There you go. Jerry?
Great defense and right by that young man.